what happens when the wicked rule? Ugh. Isn't that how you feel a lot today?
Once upon a time, there was a beautiful country called Fantasyland, where saying something over and over again makes it true. The king of Fantasyland sat in the country's loftiest ivory tower. He spent his days gazing dreamily out a window, counting the candy-coated raindrops as they fell on a pavement made of birthday cake. One day, the king noticed something else falling with the candy-coated raindrops. Why, it was his approval rating. Apparently, the citizens of Fantasyland, though they are the most pampered and privileged people in the entire universe, are nevertheless notorious whiners and crybabies. The king was sad that his subjects didn't like him as much as they used to, so he decided to cheer himself up by taking a ride through Bubblegum Forest on his favorite unicorn. As he trotted out of the capital of Fantasyland, Denial City, the king thought to himself, "I wish I could just get away from all of these complainers." But every wish comes true in Fantasyland, so the king was magically transported to a faraway place called Planet Reality.
Yeah, little different on Planet Reality. Let's do a compare and contrast, shall we? What we see today at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and what the Proverbs teach us about good rulers. Here's our next pithy practical proverb. 8:14 through 16. I have counsel and sound wisdom. I have insight. I have strength, says wisdom. By me, kings reign, and rulers decree what is just. By me, princes rule, and nobles, all who govern justly. Who offers all of those rich benefits? Why, it is wisdom, not smarts, not being the president of the law thing at Harvard or whatever it was that he did. No, it's having wisdom. It is having this thing that is hard won, that takes years. That's why we used to have elder statesmen, to know what is wise, to know what is right, to know what is just, and to know what is reality.
Since the king was educated in Fantasyland, he had no concept of reality. Imagine his surprise when he looked around and saw piles of dead bodies, bombs exploding, and women being dragged off to be raped. "This isn't how things work in Fantasyland," said the king. "Wherever could I be?" The nameless, faceless victims around him replied, "Welcome to Planet Reality."
You see, there's a little difference between wisdom and philosophy, the study of wisdom. What's the difference? Well, one is sitting around talking about what might be, what ought to be, what I'd like it to be. The other one is, real. Check out our next proverb. Proverbs chapter 29, verse 12. If a ruler listens to falsehood, all his officials will be wicked. Now, this is just one application. All of his officials will be wicked, but there are many more applications of if a ruler listens to falsehood, all kinds of bad things happen.
The king was confused. "What's causing all of this misery?" he asked. "Lots of things," they answered. "But the most immediate source of death, bombings, and rape is a book called the Quran." "The Quran?" laughed the king. "Don't you mean the Holy Quran?"
The Holy Quran, the Holy Quran, the Holy Quran.
"I know all about the Holy Quran," the king continued. "I've been promoting it for years. Where I come from, the Quran is what makes the sun shine and flowers bloom and ice cream taste yummy." "Well," said the nameless, faceless victims, "that may be how the Quran works in Fantasyland, but here on Planet Reality, it commands Muhammad's followers to oppress and kill non-Muslims and hypocrites."
Wisdom. Oh, it's not just something to be longed for. It is the difference between reality, fantasy, life, and death, rejoicing and groaning.